Begin with, let me encourage all youth that I have faith in the youth.
Welcome to the best self development, inspirational, and the most exciting educational podcast on the General's world. This is Time with the General.
Hi everyone, this is your boy the General. Thank you so much for always being with us. And this is the time that I've been waiting for. It's a very exciting moment. I'm trying to keep my excitement. Today I'm here with our very own Honorable Dr. Dickson Kissi. And I'm so excited. I just want to keep my excitement in check. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us.
Thank you.
You are welcome on the General's World Show. This is Time with the General. Okay, so we were talking recently. I met Honorable Doctor, and we were talking to discuss about his life. You know, we bring you educative and inspirational messages all the time. So today too, we are coming to talk about his success stories, his journey on how he has come so far. So today, Honorable, how's it going?
Well, I'm happy to be here. Any opportunity I get to also talk on behalf of the youth, I'm excited about.
Yes.
So I'm hoping that I can, at least by the end of this interview, touch a few lives.
Yeah. That's very important. So our show is to help develop the youth. Our main target is the youth. Sometimes success doesn't come easy. Everybody have their own way. So today we are here to discuss how your success came about. You've had some couple of failures too, but I think failure is part of the journey.
Yes. So to begin with, let me encourage all youth that I have faith in the youth, and I believe that there's so much more we can add to our communities in this country, and there's so much opportunity that we have to create, because we can't always be dependent. And granted, as Einstein said, he stood on many shoulders to achieve what he did, and I believe that we're never an island. And no matter what you want to do, you need to master the prevailing trade first before you shoot. So my biggest thing is to encourage our youth, if it's even pottery or if it is carpentry, you cannot do the best furniture until you've studied the current furniture systems or furniture creation processes. So my biggest thing to any youth, no matter what field you are passionate about, you cannot venture out until you've spent some time mastering the current order. And let me use one person as an example. I'll select Bill Gates.
Okay.
Bill Gates is a dropout of college, but let's not make a mistake. He was an authority on computing systems before he dropped out.
Okay.
So it isn't that he dropped out without knowledge or dropped out without skill. He at the time, I can almost say on authority that what he wanted to achieve, the professors of the day thought it was impossible.
Okay.
You see, so that means he had risen above professorial knowledge, and he wanted to achieve a certain height that at the time the knowledge and skill were inadequate.
Okay.
So he's not just an average college dropout. He was scoring highest every time on his, exams and things like that. So I beg to say that he was an overachiever.
Okay.
The things he was doing were far more what the college could do. So let's be mindful of some of these things. And then I'll also cite a very powerful man in my life who I admire, Warren Buffett. And let me cite the fact that at a tender age of almost 7, his old man was teaching him accounting. You see, his father was a governor of Omaha and was teaching him the investments and how to do it. So at the age of 17 years, the kind of thinking or investment knowledge that this boy who started at 7 has, there's no wonder he's been toying between first and second or third richest man in the world. So in summary, great heights or great achievements that we see are not just an overnight thing. Recently, I was watching Coming to America, and I saw Samuel Jackson in the movie. And if you pay particular attention, it was just a brief moment in that movie. But mind you, he had been trying to break through for so many years. And even at that time, just that 1 minute in the movie was a great deal.
Yeah.
And now when we look at his track record, a lot of people forget how many times he tried. See, and I think that I'll plead with our youth. Sometimes we are in a haste to achieve greater heights, but we need to first master whatever trade we want to. And the last one I'll share with us was the physician who introduced putting a tube into the heart. In fact, he was a very powerful doctor in Germany, and he was studying under a professor. And when he attempted to do this, after numerous theories and calculations, he did it on himself.
Okay.
And it was not acceptable at the time. But he actually won a Nobel Prize for this. Mind you, catheterization or putting a tube into the heart was never heard of. And he felt that he could go into the heart direct and give medication to the heart using that method. And he was sacked by his professor. You know, and like I said, this is somebody who had mastered medicine before venturing into doing something different.
Okay.
And even that, he was sacked because, it was unacceptable. But subsequent to what he had done, when a body of doctors met and assessed the work he had done, they realized that it was a breakthrough, something that they had not thought of. Nobody had thought of. So my challenge to our youth, no matter what it is you are trying to do, you have to overdo those who are the authority of that. So in the media space, for instance, there are names like Kwame Sefa and all that. So what it means is that you have to understudy these people and outdo them.
Yes.
And it is not easy because these are masters of their trade, but it is achievable. Okay. And that is, in a nutshell, my plea. The next Abedi Pele has to be powerful. The next Tony Eboa has to be powerful. Yao Perekon has to be powerful in the sense that they have to outdo what has been done. Just recently, with the Lakers, I believe that, Shaq set a record.
Yes, and LeBron.
But now LeBron is doing more than that.
Yes.
And mind you, I think recently in one game, he scored so much that they had to pause the game and celebrate the fact that in one game, he has outdone the number of,
he actually had the highest scorer in the NBA now.
Exactly, Abdul Jibril. And that is what it means by achieving greater heights. You have to outdo your masters. And that is what I want to inspire our youth that it has to be managed, it has to be consistent, and you have to work very hard.
Twice as hard as.
More than twice as hard.
Okay.
And I can bet you my last coin that LeBron has been disciplined.
Very disciplined.
About what he intends to do. If he just played and sleeps and plays and sleeps, he won't overdo those right.
He actually invested so much in his health that he had a nutritionist, he had fitness trainers.
They don't
so
play.
Much, almost $1 billion just to keep his body in shape.
They don't play. So and even the likes of Ronaldo
is,
these are people who, excuse me to say, even the water they drink is very well calculated to make sure that their bodies are at peak performance. So I'm very particular about these things because our ethics and culture in this country, in terms of being disciplined about what we want to achieve, is in a very shaky situation. Because sometimes when I see my own youth and their non-interest in being assiduous, being forthright and dedicated to a path, I worry. Okay. And I think that we need to, as much as possible, make people aware that these heights are not achieved just overnight.
Yeah. Okay, so Honorable Dr. Dickson Adomako Kissi is a member of parliament for Anyaa Sowutuom, and he's also a medical practitioner who works at the Deseret Hospital, a business developer too at the Deseret Hospital. He's a very known man. He has served so much. He has done so much for the country. But to say, how do you do this? You like to help from behind the scenes, because everybody sees you as just the politician we know. But I have known you personally, and I would like to say this. My grandfather used to come to your hospital, and you'll be admitted, and we'll come to visit him. So I have known you before you came into power, and that was great. It was always great experience coming to your hospital. And he passed away 2 years ago. May so rest in peace. So how do you do it? You always like to work behind the scenes, because I know you do a lot of great initiatives, taking care of people, doing here and there. How do you do it without not being in the spotlight?
Well, unfortunately, at the moment, that is one of my sins. I'm not loud enough. I believe that your work should show and tell the story more so than talk. And that has been my mantra. But now I'm also going to change a little bit to let my work show and be very much in the open. That's also part of the reason why I agreed to this interview. Okay. Sometimes when you want to achieve certain things, you somehow have to also work in a bit of a silo. It's almost like a research work. You do your work heavily, and then when you get your breakthrough, you come out and tell the people. But I think that in as much as I'm doing that because of the need for people to know, now I'll be putting a lot out for people to see. And you're right. I think working behind the scenes is also, it has its pluses, and that is what has brought me here. If you are, I did sciences at St. Peter's Secondary School in Petia, and it shaped my future based on the toughness of. We used to have what we call merit of order, and I always had to make sure that at least the top 10 there, I had to be in there, and that is also one of the things you need to be an achiever from the get-go. You have to be serious from the get-go, because every point in your life matters. And I'm of the opinion that wherever I'm at, I have to work and work well. And in the same vein, when I went out to study, I also took it very serious.
You were even a teaching assistant?
Yes. So in the US, I had to choose between doing basketball or doing serious work. and as a Kodaki in a very white community, I decided that doing basketball was fun, but what I was good at was the calculations and the math and things. So then I had to choose one, and I chose to do my education very well. So I was a teaching assistant for all the time I was in college, and I worked with very fantastic professors who have achieved things and have worked on spacecraft. So some of the things we did are literally in the orbit somewhere, and that is the beauty of the work I did in chemistry. And then I also did economics at the time because I was very curious about monetary policy and finances. Okay. And after that, I worked in the health domain as an analyst, doing post-market assessment of surgical products, okay, and how well to communicate with our investors so that we get more money to do research work. So after all of that, I visited Ghana, and that was a transition moment for me. I said I'd do well to serve my Ghanaian community.
So you never went back?
Oh, well, I do visit, but after 2009, I went and then told my company that I was returning home to come and support Ghana. So and it was crazy. In fact, I have to admit, a lot of my friends thought I had legal issues in America, and that's why I was leaving abruptly. Because for a young guy, America,
you're making all the money,
America, and it didn't make sense. But I think now I feel much happier, much fulfilled.
But I think that was a sacrifice you had to make.
Yes.
Between having a luxurious life in America and also coming to Ghana to help out or become.
Absolutely. I mean, it takes a certain attitude or a certain character, or let me say vision, to make that decision where you skip all the niceness of America and say that, Charlie, it's nice, but let me come home and also help build this country. So that's why I left. And also secretly, I wanted to spend time with my parents. They had not seen me, or I'd been away for 10 years. And although they would come and visit and go, I just felt that let me come and know my parents and support them and help them also enjoy me as their son. Although this new work has taken me away from them a lot. But I think just being in the country is also good. So fast forward, did medicine here in Ghana. Legon, University of Ghana Medical, and it was a tough experience. I managed to go through that. Very important. It's one of the fields that even if your father is whatever, you have to learn and pass. You can't go on your father's laurels. And fortunately, I remember telling one of my friends who was very concerned when I started medicine. I told him, that's what I told him. Because if your head died, it's a bad risk to take. And unfortunately, I maneuvered to finish Ghana Medical School and worked at a number of places: BRA, Pantine, Kolebu, and Police Hospital. And I also skipped recruitment for police. They were hoping that I joined the police service, but politics and police service wouldn't work. So then I had to masterly walk away from police hospital to avoid being encouraged to join the police service.
But so fast forward, let me come in with this. You see, as young people, once we are grown, we try to find a career path. And I think that is the most difficult stage of a young or a youth, trying to find a career path where it will benefit you and your family. It will benefit, because once you are in that headspace or you are in that career path, you need to be able to make money to be able to take care of home, because they're taking care of you all this while. How was it always easy for you to find a career path?
Well, not easy. And even to date, there are other decisions you take that you wonder if you should have done this or not. One thing I can say is that a lot of Ghanaians sometimes choose the wrong career path, and that is the problem. And skill should take the lead more so than money, and we should be working hard to acquire the skill. Listen, I have people who sew for me, and it is out of seeing somebody's work that attracts me to that tailor or seamstress. So if your skill is so good, you might sew for me. President Anadolu Akufo might see my outfit and then say that, Dr. Kissi, who did this outfit for you? The next thing you know, you are sewing for ordinary Dr. Kissi, and then next thing you know, you are now sewing for the president.
Wow.
But it is your skill and your product that has spoken for you. So I believe that we all have to work very hard, and out of that, you'll be either polishing my shoes or the president's shoes, or you might be doing artwork for me or the president, or any other person. So I believe very much in that, in the sense that whatever it is you do, you study hard and work hard at it, and your work will speak for itself. People will come and then ask for your service because of what you are doing. Some people have done wache, and the wache has taken them to America because somebody tasted it and was like, wow, this woman is good, and decides to help them. Some people have done waitress job, and out of that had their success. So I believe that no matter what you do it well. If you're, hairdresser, do it very well. It will create an opportunity for you, and that is one thing. But in choosing a career path, no matter what, to make sure you choose what has some remuneration. Eventually, we have to eat.
Yeah.
And in doing that, it's important that when in medical school, I used to ask my colleagues, so do we know how much we're going to earn? And do we know what we can do to make more? And unfortunately, the average medical person in this country is not trained on running businesses.
Okay.
And likewise, all the many professions. But you see, in the Americas, you pay for your tuition. So right from the get-go, once you are paying for your education, you then have a hustle mind that, hey, after paying so much for my education, how am I going to pay back? And that drives you, that innovative entrepreneurship spirit drives you to make sure that you are venturing into something that can bring you. One of my other jobs on campus, I was in charge of the sports complex. So I used to observe sports medicine through, how they were managing the players, and our college was very big for football, American football. And those are all very important in terms of, the options and avenues. So one of the things I was looking at was sports medicine, because that also has a lot of money. If you're the medical doctor for Ronaldo, you can imagine. If you're the medical doctor for Messi, but to become the medical doctor for Messi, of course, you have to be at the top of it, so that just 1 minute with Messi is somebody's 1 year salary. You understand? So this is how you have to think about what you do and how you do it.
Okay. So I've heard great things about you, and I've heard how you have triumphed and other people I've heard seen all the glory, all your victories and all, but nobody knows about the story, about the struggles and all that. For one, in the year 2016, you lost the seat.
I bet. Yeah.
How was it like? Why didn't you could have just ended everything and gone back to the state and just made life easier for you? Why did you stay?
I learned something. They say that sometimes to achieve, you have to burn all your ship. And in the sense that when you get on an island, you burn your ship. And that means that it's do or die. Whatever you need to do to survive, you have to do it. So when you chart a path that you want to do this, the failures should not distract you. You should be very firm in your, and resolve that this is what I want to do. And nobody, no matter what, is going to stop you. You're going to be at it. Because, Maza, on the journey, you face a lot of retaliation. You face heavy weights that will stop you. And let me just add that I was enthused to watch Regional Minister Henry Corte say that he's dealing with quote unquote demons within our party who are working against him. So you have what we call friendly fire, and you also have enemy fires. And what I mean by that is that people even within your own circles will fight you. And then you also have people outside your circles fighting you. So nowhere easy, and once you want to achieve something, to achieve means that you work against opposition, and it's come to stay with us. But I would only also plead that let's be one of those people who encourage instead of the famous pull me down, pull him down syndrome. And I think we should, all of us, endeavor to be more of a uplifting and a helping hand, more so than, hitting people who are already down and hitting them. And I will plead that it is a problem. Myself, I may be part of it, but every day we need to, when we wake up, ask ourselves that, is my work uplifting somebody, or is it rather knocking them down? And I think that as Ghanaians, if we can all be on the other side where we are doing this uplifting, it will help us as a country. Unfortunately, I think there are more people who are ready to pull us back than to push us forward. And it's painful, because if we pull more people up, there's enough. Even the birds eat.
Yeah.
How much more us? There's enough. So we should change our attitude and be about pulling. And I'm using a very symbolic word here, pulling people up, so that we become a shining star for others, more so than a doomsaw agent.
Okay. So before we end the discussion, I'd like to say this. There are things that people don't see. For instance, once you become famous, people only see you for being famous. There are struggles that money cannot just wipe away or make it vanish. Things, it could be emotional, psychological, physically. What are some of the struggles you have been through as a person? It didn't break you though, but it was something you struggled with.
So I think that eventually there's a book I would write, and the book will be titled "Who Helps the MP? Who Helps the Member of Parliament?" Because we are a bank for helping people. We are, let me say, a reservoir to support, or a shock absorber for other people. But we ourselves, we also have shocks.
Who motivates the motivator?
And almost about the same thing. And I think that invariably the Bible has been one of the strong pillars in my life.
Oh.
And I read it and take solace from it, in the sense that others have gone beyond us who have had heavy struggles. If you read the story of like Joseph, whose own brothers, not cousins, his own brothers sold him out. When you appreciate all these stories, it gives you strength. And like I said, you have friendly fires and enemy fires. And Joseph went through friendly fires, and it wasn't easy. And then I take my mind also back to Daniel, who was reported to the king, Nebuchadnezzar. Not that he was necessarily trying to disrespect the leader, but his own people went to make a report, went to make a case against him, and was put in the lion's den. So they say that there's nothing new under the sun.
Okay.
Meaning that whatever struggles you and I are going through, Obi has been through that before. And the only place you can see these stories and relate to them is in a good book. Whether you're a Christian or not, I think that it is an account of people's experience in this world several centuries back, or shall I say millennia back. And one thing is certain, God hasn't changed, and man too hasn't changed. All the tricks we do is almost like when you go into secondary school, third years have seen all the tricks of the first years. No matter what tricks you try, people have done it before. And the only place you can go and seek solace is a good book. We also lose family members. In fact,
you're not immune to
everything that happens to somebody. What is so touching might be a day you've lost a relative, and somebody too has lost a relative, but you have to console the person. And without telling the person that, Charlie, this is the situation. Or sometimes you have your last kobo or CD in your pocket, and somebody calls you crying and wailing that they don't have food to eat. And then you're like, hey, me, myself, today, I don't know what I'm leaving home for my family to eat, but you'll part of it because you have to make the sacrifice. And that's why I said that eventually, one day, we'll give an account of how the members of parliament survive in this country, because they're easy. Easy. And you can never have enough money for politics.
No.
That one I can tell you. As it stands now, the commander-in-chief himself, the wish he has to help, he's limited by finances.
Yeah.
So if Obia or the master, even the president of this country, has a limitation in terms of what he wished he could do. If he could pay for these elderly people their pensions, I'm sure he will write a check for them. But he is limited. So there's never, even former President Obama didn't have enough money to solve all of America's problems. And current President Biden doesn't have enough money to solve all of America's problems.
There's no money.
So there's never enough except for Pidiampon and the arbitrary. So that is what I would say keeps me grounded and keeps me going.
So I know you are a busy man. I know we are about to end it, but there is something I learned from one of my role models, Jay Shetty. Mm-hmm. So we are doing the quick fire. It would take 1 minute each. Mm-hmm. So I'm asking 5 questions where you are supposed to answer them as quick as you can.
Okay.
So, what is the best advice you had?
Study hard.
Wow. That's simple. That's simple. Study hard. There's no 2 ways about it. Just study hard. Okay. So the second one. What is the worst advice you ever had?
You can't do it.
Wow. Okay. The third one. How do you deal with loss and wins?
As a learning experience.
Okay, so the fourth one. What's something you thought you valued but not anymore?
Some friendships.
If I'm not wrong, you had to cut some people off just to make sure you get to where you are. It's as simple as that. Okay, so the last one. If you can create one law for everyone to follow, what would it be?
The adage is do you. Do you.
Wow, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. It's been an honor to be here with Honorable Dr. Dickson Adomako Kissi, and I'm so much excited. I didn't know a day like this would come. He calls himself an ordinary man. And to me, he is not an ordinary man. But I would like to say a very big thank you to Dr. Kissi for coming to the show to educate our viewers. As you can see, this is the best self-development program you could ever get. It's been so much fun and so much education. So thank you so much, Honorable Kissi, for your time. Would you like to say anything to the youth? Any advice?
Yeah. So the only thing I would end on is that dress well all the time. Your next interview person might be your friend you don't know, or a neighbor. So always dress well, clean shaven every time, all the time, once you're looking for work. And then in summary too, curriculum vitae are not good. Please, we should spend time. It's your advert.
Okay.
So think about how marketing companies work on their lines. Even one line, sometimes it can take them 6 weeks before they come out with a line. And your CV needs to be worked on aggressively. And you need to know your CV. You can't take a CV and then when you come to interview and you are being asked about things on your CV, now, excuse me, so I'll beg you, be a walking signboard.
Oh.
And out of that, somebody might be touched and say, oh, this man, he carries himself this way. I think he's a good fit for this job. Okay. And that is my only thing that I can leave with the youth. And then we should understudy people. Okay. Very important. You can't achieve without understudy.
Be a student.
Be a student. An apprentice.
Okay. So thank you so much for having the time. Time with the General is being brought to you by the General Board. And thank you so much for being with us. And we hope to see you next time on this same show on the next episode. Have a nice day. Thank you. Goodbye.